Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, you guys may have heard last week that the jobs report came out. It was this big win for the Trump administration. It came out higher than expected. 130,000 jobs were added. If you didn't see this, here's one of the reports. Like it says, strongest gain in months. Okay. What the Trump administration doesn't want you to know is that buried in this report is proof that no, the overall economy is not great. It actually sucks. So here's the thing. More than half of those 130,000 jobs, they were added in the healthcare sector only because we have an aging population, right? The younger generations are putting off having kids or deciding they're not going to have kids at all because they can't afford it. They can't afford to raise them, let alone go out and buy a house to put a family in. So 82,000 of those 130,000 jobs, those were all in healthcare. So unless you're a doctor or a nurse, somehow related to those fields, there are very few jobs to choose from. And the manufacturing industry added only 5,000 jobs last month. We're supposed to be in this manufacturing boom, this manufacturing renaissance in America, thanks to Donald Trump's tariffs. But no, we have been, I guess it was good that we added finally some manufacturing jobs because all we've been doing is losing them. But it's still pathetic, 5,000 in a month. And in fact, check this out. So it was just reported that one of Donald Trump's billionaire donors, a guy named John Paulson, he just informed union leaders that he's closing his manufacturing plant. This is in Ohio. He manufactures brass and orchestra instruments. Well, he announced he's moving it to China. I mean, you can't make this shit up. This is just too good. He's literally a Donald Trump donor, one of his billionaire buddies, and he's like, yeah, it's just too expensive to produce stuff here, so I'm just going to send everything to China. The golden era, golden age, guys. And then, I mean, can we just stop before I move on? Can we just stop? Because the tariffs are supposed to be, we're supposed to be paying down our debt with them. We're supposed to be bringing manufacturing jobs back. We're supposed to be giving out a refund, a tariff refund, tariff dividend check to everybody. None of that is happening. None of that. And then the other thing that Trump doesn't want you to focus on or know is that the jobs report for the year of 2025, like in total, that was revised down like dramatically. It's absolutely pathetic. It is just abysmal. So Trump's Bureau of Labor Statistics had initially reported that almost 600,000 jobs were added last year. That has now been revised down to less than 200,000 for the entire year. We should be adding that many per month if we were really seeing a boom, if things were really coming back. So, now we have to question how many jobs were really added last month, because they're obviously not legitimate, these numbers that they're putting out. Are they going to revise that down by like a half, 3/4 as well? And then they keep telling everyone, oh, the economy's so great. It's booming. It's coming back. We're in this golden era. So I have more concrete evidence to show you guys, which completely refutes that claim. It was reported last week. This is just almost unbelievable, that blood banks are now seeing a rise in Americans who are donating their plasma for the money, not because they want to help and they want to, take care of their fellow humans, but because they need the money. Blood banks told reporters that it's mostly middle-class workers who are coming in, and they're telling these people, yeah, it's because costs are rising. It's because I can't find a job. Well, NBC News spoke with a few of these people. One of them is a 43-year-old man from Pennsylvania, and he said he needed the extra money to buy toilet paper and pet food. Apparently, he hasn't been able to secure a full-time job, so he's driving for Uber or something, or DoorDash or something like that. And he said, yeah, I can cover my main bills, but I can't buy other stuff like pet food. And then a woman in California, she told them she's selling her blood because, quote, the economy is what it is right now. Everything's just so much more expensive. I realized if we're going to make ends meet, I've got to find a way to make more money. And then we're also seeing evidence of his failing economy in the housing market, because the Washington Post just reported that 90-day mortgage delinquencies, specifically for people who are at the lowest income brackets, that has jumped from 0.5%, 0.5% in 2021. It's now at 3% as of the end of last year. So here's the article that they wrote. And they said in it, quote, meanwhile, folks in the highest income areas are doing just fine, maintaining historically lower delinquency rates. It's another reminder that the U.S. economy is largely benefiting people with means, while financial storm clouds are gathering over those who can least afford a rainy day. As the New York Fed points out, financial distress appears to be deepening for households in lower income areas. Yeah, I mean, but let's give more tax breaks to the wealthy. Let's give the biggest tax breaks to the people who need it least. And the Fed surmised this again is due to the job market. And they said, it's decent in some areas, but then it's atrocious in other areas. And the New York Fed said, quote, 2/3 of counties have seen their local unemployment rates rise, and 5% of the population lives in counties where unemployment rates have risen by more than 1.6 percentage points. So while we see the overall unemployment rate dropping, there are certain areas where people need the jobs the most, where they're struggling the most, they're in a more financially precarious position. Those areas are the ones that are losing jobs. So it's like all the jobs are going to the best areas, to where people are already making good money. So housing payment data, job data, these are all, key indicators. Things are not going well for average Americans. Another sign is this. There was a report about a surge in calls to nonprofits from people who need assistance. So this was reported in the Orange County Register last week, excuse me. This is, a Southern California specific news outlet. And they said that nonprofits are now having a hard time keeping up with all of the requests. People are calling in for food, for housing assistance. So Orange County, California set up a number, a 211 is what you would call. It's like 911, the national emergency line for police assistance. But you call 211 in Orange County, California, if you need help with like basic necessities. And the executive director of the 211 platform She told the Register that demand is rising. And not only that, but it's becoming more complex because she said, in the past, people were just calling in for rental assistance. They were calling in for food. Well, now they're calling in for all of the above. They need help with everything. And according to their reports that they maintain, they said that since 2022, rental assistance requests have gone up 54%, and requests for food assistance have spiked 82%. Almost 100% people are in need of food. One other thing that is putting a major strain on households and why we're seeing these calls increase and people, in trouble on the verge of losing their homes, electricity prices. So take a look at this. Trump, as you guys know, he promised, I'm going to bring down energy prices, right? We're going to put out so much energy, the prices are going to fall, blah, blah, blah. We're going to bring it back. He's talking out of both sides of his mouth on this issue, though, because he refuses to regulate AI. And AI is directly responsible for this. They are responsible for the electricity prices skyrocketing because these AI data centers are using an extraordinary amount of electricity. So wherever they're being built, the local residents are seeing their prices spike and they're having to cover that cost. Their average Americans are covering the cost so that a handful of tech oligarchs can line their pockets so that they can then put these same average Americans out of work. I mean, it's just disturbing. Like, they're the reason that people can't afford to pay their electricity bills. And then they're like, oh yeah, and by the way, we're going to, take away your jobs with AI. You won't be necessary anymore. So then you'll be able to afford even less. So these people are hitting Americans on all sides. And again, Trump refuses to do anything about it. He's like, no, yeah, we're actually, he outlawed doing anything about it. If you guys remember, he signed an executive order saying that states are prohibited from regulating AI for like 10 years. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was even part of the big, beautiful bill, the big, but ugly bill. So, and then another thing that is definitely costing Americans money is Trump's tariffs. I mean, it all comes back to his tariffs. So there was a Fed study that just came out, and it shows that 90% of the tariff costs have been passed on to American consumers. So this guy here that you see, Peter Schiff, he is an economist, and he posted about it. And he was also on Fox News talking about this, and Trump lost his mind. Trump just had a total meltdown over it. Because, yeah, he's like, oh, what, yeah, why are they having this loser on, blah, 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 they must be, trying to go in a different direction, like trying to shame them into not telling their audience the truth, which, I mean, for once, they're telling the truth. And, yeah, the economy is doing great if you're wealthy. I think Trump and Republicans are banking on this whole no tax on tips, no tax on overtime thing to win over voters. The problem they're going to run into is that very few Americans are actually going to benefit from those tax relief policies. And whatever relief they get, it's going to be eaten up by these other costs. You're maybe not paying taxes on tips, but when your food prices are up, your housing prices up, your utility bills are skyrocketing. What's the point? Like, okay, so you're breaking even? And that's if you're someone who gets paid hourly and makes overtime, or if you're someone who works in a sector where you get tips. For everybody else, you're just seeing everything go up. You're not getting any tax relief or very little. Again, compared to Trump's oligarchs who got the biggest tax breaks. So anyway, guys, there you go. There's some facts that you can throw around when you see your crazy uncle wearing his dumb fuck finder and he tries to tell you how great Trump's economy is, the golden era. All right. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.